Chur whanau, welcome to Chur Geeks Alliance, CGA. Tonight, we have myself, Mana, and we have Portoa.
Kia ora mai whanau.
And we have a very special guest tonight for us that's going to change Rotorua. His name is...
I'm Ben Sandford.
Yes.
Ben Sandford!
Welcome to the Alliance.
Whoop, whoop. And welcome
Yes.
to the Alliance. You're
So
one of us now.
First we want to mihi. This is an unfortunate one, brothers. So yesterday, my wife and I took our kiddies out for a drive, Hamurana. And as we were driving down the windies, we know the windies, we just saw a whole bunch of cars backed up. Like there might have been a bit of an accident.
Yep.
We had our dogs in the back, so we had to carry on. There was about 6 cars there. We got around the corner and a police car came through.
Mm-hmm.
So we got home about half an hour later, and then we heard that 2 motorbikes were involved in a crash, and one of the bikes went over the side. So we want to mihi to those whānau affected yesterday. That was some serious whānau. Shucks. You know, stay safe out there on the road, but mihi to that whānau. And also mihi to Ngāti Whakaue. So Ngāti Whakaue have just came back from Italy.
Ah, yes.
The big ope went over with Sir Robert Gillies, Koro Bomb, and went over for award ceremony because he got the highest military honour from the Italian government, and also to go and reconnect the new generation with the battle sites and the grave sites of all those that fell in World War II. Yeah. And we all want to give a special mihi to Kingy and Wendy.
Yes.
Who went along.
Yes, because we did some work for Kingy and Wendy. If you guys don't know, Kingy used to be on Māori TV. He was one of the presenters. Very good bloke, very, very funny as well. But he also does his business that's been working with us called Speak Easy. He helps you, as in the name, speak easy, and helps you organise your mind while you're in the speech at a tangi or at a 21st, or you're doing something special. He's there for you, and you guys can literally book him in and be on Zoom, and we'll be there behind the computer helping with the Zoom. Help you guys speak easy. Pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool. So mihi to Ngāti Whakaue, and whānau in the background, we've got a band. We've got a band out there on the stage at Digital Natives. Yeah. So they're going to provide our background sounds.
Yeah. We've got our personal background sounds.
See, we're coming up. We're like, what is it, Dave Letterman when he had the band.
Only if Dave Dobbin came in.
So one day we'll be in the same room as the band, but for now they're in the other room.
Yep. And but that's enough of us. No, our main man here we're going to be talking about is Ben Sandford, who's running for MP for Rotorua as well, and he is part of Labour Party. I hope you guys have been putting in your papers and everything, getting ready for your votes, and been actually keeping up with everything that's going on with politics, with the elections, with the entirety of Aotearoa as well. Yeah.
And so, Ben, where are you from? Who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's Ben, born and raised here in Rotorua. Went to Rotorua Boys High School. My family lives here. After high school, I went to university down in Wellington at Victoria University and studied there for 5.5 years and got a law degree and a BA in geography. At the time, I thought I wanted to be an environmental lawyer, help save the planet, but that didn't really pan out like that. After I'd always played a lot of sport growing up, and my dream was always to play sport for New Zealand. And so after university, I had an opportunity to go overseas and play some sport, and got involved in a sport called skeleton, which is like bobsleigh.
Yes, I thought skeleton was the name of your team, but I looked at it further. You it's similar to bobsleigh. How is it similar to? Yeah,
so it's a Winter Olympic sport, and in bobsleigh, so we slide down exactly the same ice track that bobsleigh slides down. But in a bobsleigh, you're sort of sitting inside a sled, and so it's either 2 people or 4 people. With skeleton, you're lying on top of a sled, and you're lying on it, so you're head first.
Oh,
and
wow.
So, you sprint at the start, you jump on the sled, and you drive the sled down the ice track.
I don't know about you, but I've tried to do that on cardboard, on grass, going downhill. I miss the cardboard every single time. How does that
you got to make it work. You got to make it just practice. You don't want to be missing the sled. You don't want to be hitting too many walls. You don't want to be having too many crashes, because Like the fastest speeds I think I got up to were about 147 k's.
What?
So yeah, things are coming at you pretty quickly, and things can go wrong pretty quickly if you make a mistake.
It made you your adrenaline. Obviously, you would be doing it 'cause adrenaline. Are you
Yeah.
a bit of adrenaline junkie?
I don't know. Maybe because I did skeleton, but like it's not like I go out bungee jumping every weekend or do a lot of mountain biking or anything like that. Was my thing, and I loved it. I got to live my dream for a long time, traveling the world and doing skeleton. But yeah, like there's adrenaline, but you have to control it because you're driving and you need to analyze every second of the run and you like really know what you're doing. So it's a sort of very controlled adrenaline.
And before, forgot to mention this, chat. Before, if you guys have any questions, please list them down in the chat, and we'll get to them as quick as we can.
I'm going to go backwards. Victoria University.
Yeah.
What was it like?
Yeah, it was great. I really liked Victoria University. Like it was nice, moving away from Rotorua, moving to a bigger city, meeting new people. I have great friends still from university, and I really enjoyed my experience in Wellington and at Victoria. Like I thought it was a good university in the sense that like some universities they're the main part of the town. Other universities like they're a really small part of the town, but I felt like with Victoria, like you could sort of be part of the university but then go experience the city as well. So there was a good balance.
Sure. And your time at Boys High, any standout teachers?
Oh, standout teachers. Yeah, Mr. Gemmell, he was my history teacher.
Mrs.
He was...
Fiskin? Was Mrs. Fiskin there?
So I went through school with her son, Mark.
Mrs. Fiskin's my auntie.
Ah, really?
Yeah, Mark's my cousin.
Oh, wow.
So, not the favourite teacher.
Boys
but
High.
not the favourite teacher. But
Anyone else?
Anyone else? Yeah.
Mr. Verschaffelt was an English teacher. He's pretty edgy and cool, and a sofa in his classroom. So
Wow.
yeah, that was pretty neat. He had some really good geography teachers. Mr. Armstrong.
Did you play
Mr.
any
Duckett.
sports over at Boys High as well, like rugby or golf or cricket or anything?
Yeah, so I played a lot of cricket and water polo.
Oh, water
And,
polo.
Yeah.
That's when Boys High had a pool.
Yeah, we did. I don't know if we ever
Remember
played
that?
in it then,
Oh, you
but
played.
it was too shallow, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Because before I got there, I remember they had just removed the pool. They had just moved, and
It
I
was
was like,
epic.
"What is this big, huge?" Because now there's just a wooden pathway that is on dirt,
Oh, yeah?
and that's it.
I forgot. Did you go to Boys?
Yeah, I went
as
to
well?
Boys,
Okay, I'm
yep.
going to ask a crucial question. House group.
I was in I think I was in the red one.
Drake.
Yeah.
Drake, my man.
I was in the champion House of Nelson.
Oh, Nelson. Is that green? That's green,
I
right?
think so, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the athletics day, the swimming sports, just nuts, all the boys getting hoarse from just chanting.
Just
And then
so
if
much
you won-
testosterone everywhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
epic.
It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
But so besides from your sports at school, did you know that you were gunning to be a lawyer?
So my dad's a lawyer, and there's been a few other people in my family that have been lawyers, and so sort of grew up around the law firm, and going into my dad's office and so on, like most days after work, and so it seemed quite natural, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do at university. Like I didn't desperately want to be a lawyer, but it just felt like, okay, my dad's a lawyer, I'll go and study this and see what it's like, and studying environmental law. Sort of aligned, I guess, with my values and what I thought was happening in the world at the time. And
Yeah, that would have been at the early days of that's pre-Kyoto protocols. I'd suspect. 95?
Yes. Yeah, so I went to my first year at uni was 97.
Oh, so
Yeah.
right time.
Yeah.
All the environmental law was coming online, but
Yeah, and I went to university with that sort of aim to become an environmental lawyer, but the environmental law papers were so boring, and it was a lot of it at that time was just about the Resource Management Act, and that's all about not really so much saving the environment, but like how big your neighbour's chimney or deck or something should be.
Right.
And
So it would have been all the conservation estate,
and
how to manage with dock.
and there were very few actual environmental jobs at the end of it. So like I have a few friends that went on to work in that space, but yeah.
Has that changed at all? From when you first, as you said, you were first starting law and it got boring. Is it because of all of those all of those papers that you did, and how boring. As you said, it was just measuring how the deck was. It wasn't actually about cleaning environment or growing trees or anything like that. Has that changed?
Yeah, I think it's still changing. You're seeing a lot more. Young lawyers come through with a determination to put climate on the agenda, and they're doing that around the world in pretty unique ways. Before the courts, and raising awareness, and even like from if you're leaving university with a law degree and specialising in environment or resource management, there's a lot more jobs in that space now. Like there's a lot more action and a lot more things that have happened. That's a lot more people are concerned about the environment. So there's, whether it's local government or central government or even businesses, now they'll have someone that specialises in how they might reduce their climate impact. So
that's good.
Yes.
For our community, climate change top 5.
Yeah.
Sometimes number 1.
Yeah.
Like last night when the storm was coming through, and the lightning, number 1.
Yep. It was and down south as well, because it's right now it's even though it's impacting all around the world, it's New Zealand is quite easy to get swampy as well. Very.
The south this week, last week, the cyclones, Auckland.
Yep.
We're not immune to it just because we're far away.
Yeah.
We're actually sometimes at the epicenter because our neighbour is Antarctica.
And what are you guys doing about that at the moment? Because I did when I was doing some research, I did see you guys do some things for climate, like you guys donated some stuff, some money towards climate change and things like that. Yeah,
so like in terms of government and like Labour Party, there's a lot happening in that space, and like the way that I would look at it, like there's the last 6 years of Labour being in government, like we've worked really closely with the Green Party, and there's been a lot of work to sort of set up the structures. You can't sort of run before you can walk, and so like it's setting up the structures to make sure that we can deal with things in the future. So like as long as we continue along this path, like we'll meet our emissions targets, like things like the clean car discount, that's had a really big impact on reducing car emissions. I think there's some crazy statistic, like 1 out of 100 new cars used to be an EV or a hybrid, and now it's 1 in 2. Like that's a massive change in a short period of time, and so we're meeting our emissions targets at the moment, but there's still a lot of work that we're going to do. And that's the thing, we know we've already done enough damage to the climate that we're going to be feeling the effects of it. What we have to do now is limit the ongoing effects, to make sure that we don't make it even worse.
That's right.
And sorry, quick question: what is your carrying on with the subject of cars? What is your take on EVs, electric vehicles? How far in do you think we will be? How many years till almost everybody is going to be?
Do you have an electric vehicle?
No, I'd love to get one. Yeah. I need to stop spending my money on political campaigns and save up some money so I can get an EV. But that'll definitely be the next car that I get. It's really hard to look into the future, eh? There's the EU, I think California as well. They've all said that all new cars by 2035 will be EVs or hydrogen. Oh, wow. So when you have massive markets like that shifting, that's telling the car manufacturers that we don't want these petrol diesel vehicles. You've got to start changing.
Do you think, I was watching one a few nights back, and 100 years ago the horse industry was vibrant, and then now it's not. Do you think the General Motors or the existing car industry is going to fight back, or are they going to?
Well, yeah, and it's crazy. Looking at Tesla, and you've got all the sort of the main players that have been in the car industry for a long time, Toyota or GM or Ford or Nissan, and then Tesla's come along, and now a couple of years ago, they were valued more than every other car company in the world put together, which was probably an overvaluation, but it sort of gives you an indication of where things are going, and you see all these new car companies coming into the space, and a lot of the the existing players are having to play a bit of catch up.
Yeah, that's right.
Especially New Zealand, because there's always that myth New Zealand has been behind the rest of the world. Is there any way that you guys are trying to fix that, trying to catch up to the rest of the world?
Yeah, I think, and it depends on the sector that you're talking about. Yep. Some sectors I'd say we're leading the world. You know, I think we are world leading, and one of the things I love about New Zealand is how outward looking we are. You know, and how we pick up on things overseas, and we develop and we make them better. And like I think we're quite a nimble, you know, adaptive country and people like that, you know, want to move forward. In terms of, you know, the car industry, and you know, so we're sort of the end of the supply chain a little bit. So, you know, like our cars in New Zealand in recent years have been predominantly like Japanese second-hand imports. Like that makes up a big bulk of what we have, and so that's where sort of the clean car discount is like providing incentives to people to change and move into EVs and hybrids. Hopefully,
because even though the inflation for the petrol is disgusting, hopefully soon we're going to be getting EVs, because they're even talking about flying cars as well. I don't know if you guys seen those.
Nah, well, I was disappointed. So 1999 we were meant to be on the moon, and we were meant to be Jetsons by now. You know, Marty McFly lied. Anyway,
and here we are, just with our cell phones on social media.
Got sitting on couches rather than being on the moon. Who wants that?
So I was just going to ask you, how did you get into the Labour Party?
So, like a bit of a long story. I played sport, did skeleton for like 12 years, and during that time I got really involved in sport politics. So I was representing my fellow athletes to the governing bodies in a number of different organisations, both overseas and here in New Zealand. And so just got really familiar with that concept of, you know, representing, like getting change done, you making things happen that would improve the sport and improve things for athletes. And then, you know, my values really align with the Labour Party. Like I believe in like supporting people and like creating supportive environments, so we can all step forward. You know, like the more people that are doing better, the better we all are. And you know, I moved back home here in 2016, and you know, started working in the law firm here. And at that time there was got involved with the Labour Party, and there was an opening, and so I ran for Labour in 2017, and now here I am again.
Doing it again. It must be definitely a lot of hard work to be running.
First, as a failed politician myself, I was on council for 12 years. And we got 3 multi-wards. And I got the 4th amount of votes, and there's no medal for 4th. Oh no. So, you know, but I was really happy with the first 3. Rawuri, Lani, and Uncle Trevor. Amazing in council, amazing. And Tania, so amazing. And all the crew. But that's, for me, it's like politician. No one knows how much stress representative goes under, how much communication, reading, thinking, sacrificing of your time, of your family time, your personal time, for everybody. So first, mihi to you, brother.
Thanks.
Thanks. It takes a lot of, in my words, it takes a lot of balls to do that stuff.
Everything.
It does. Sorry, we have some questions as well.
Mostly so. 2 questions. What do you love about Rotorua, and what is broken about Rotorua?
So what I love about Rotorua is the people, and we live in just like the most incredibly beautiful, unique, you know, part of the world, like with the geothermal and the lakes and the forest, and back to the people, you know, like I'm from here, this is home, you know, like this is the people that I care about, and you know, I think we have this incredible, you know, convergence of cultures and people, and you know, people that really care about the community. In terms of what's broken here, like one of the reasons I got into, you know, trying to become the MP and involved in Labour was just frustrated that, you know, issues that I saw as a child hadn't been fixed. You know, like there's poverty out there in the community, there's intergenerational poverty, there's inequality, and you know, from the time I've been a kid, like I've seen those issues as I grew up, and I'm sure as you guys have seen, like, and you just see the same situations happening again and again and again. And if you want to fix those things, you need, you know, a government to play a role in that. Like you need a government to support people, not just for like 3 years, but, you know, over a really long period of time. And you need to understand the systems and the biases in the systems that are causing those problems. And so, that's what I would like to see fixed.
Yeah, cool. So, the floor is yours. Labour policies.
Labour policies, it's this voting starts on Monday, and like pretty much all our policies are out now, and there's a whole raft of them, and I think it's a really important election. People have got a choice here, and I think it's a really stark choice. With Labour, the Greens, and Te Pāti Māori, I think you have three parties that can work together, that are progressive, that want to see things get better, that want to invest in our communities and in our people, and whether that's housing here in Rotorua, like we're already building houses, like we're getting the job done, and it's about building more houses. It's about supporting people into work. It's about making sure that it's easy to get into education and training, like getting rid of those barriers. With the environment, like we have, we're in a climate crisis. Like we have to be dealing with it now. Like you can't just put your head in the sand. And so, whether it's, we often talk about getting the basics right in education, healthcare, and housing. And so we need a government that understands that and doesn't like put barriers in the way of people to get into, people that are homeless to get into a house. Or
some of them are trying to fix problems that haven't even occurred yet, instead of fixing problems that are still around, as you said.
Yeah. And there's lots of good stuff, and which is on the if we get a National Act, New Zealand First government, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to get cut. Like they want to pay for tax cuts. To do that, they're going to have to cut an enormous amount of public services, and it's it might not be the doctor or the nurse on the front line, but it's the backline staff that allows that person to be on the front line and do the work. I'm a type 1 diabetic, and so I go into the pharmacy quite a bit, and we just removed the co-payments off prescriptions to make prescriptions free. Right. Like it sounds like a little thing, but
it's actually really
it's
big.
Massive. Like I've been going into my pharmacy for the last who knows how many years, and there's always been like a shelf full of uncollected scripts because people aren't picking them up because they can't afford them, and that doesn't exist anymore. And so that means that those people are getting the medication that they need. The doctor is filling in the prescription and they're getting it. And so that's, medication for, whether it's heart disease or, mental health. And so that means that then we're not being an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff just by them turning up an emergency because they're sick again. Yeah. They can you're actually preventing problems before they happen.
Start. Yes. And is there, if you're making prescriptions free, is there something you have to sacrifice to make it free?
Well, yes and no. Like I guess ultimately our tax dollars are going towards to pay for this. Yes. And if we want nice things, we've got to pay the tax, and then the government's going to allocate that funding out. Yep. And that's why from my side, I guess if we want really great things in this country, we've actually got to pay for them. Like nothing is free in that sense. So I would say a better society comes at a slightly higher cost.
Yeah. So in saying the government pays to help the people, while the people does their due through the tax, of course, just so the government can help them with the free stuff. Yeah,
and that's I think that's the role of the government is to help people. Mm-hmm. It's right. we need to have a good safety net in this country. Like things aren't great for people all the time. Like people go through difficult situations, and the government should be there to if you find yourself homeless, they should be there to provide you with a home. You should be able to get your health care and stuff looked after. Like we live in this wonderful country. We just need to make sure that we're looking after people.
So in the next 12 months, I'm just assuming the scenarios, we scenario builders, Labour is back in power. How would you deal with this cost of living crisis?
So there's two sort of parallel things that are happening on that. Like we need to continue to do things like maintain the free prescriptions, get the GST off fruit and vegetables, all of those things, the winter energy payment. They're all maybe small things in themselves, but when you start to add them up, they actually add up to quite a bit. And then on the other hand, we need to make sure that wages are going up as well. So that's minimum wage increases, making sure that there's a strong bargaining power for unions, for fair pay agreements, making sure that we are lifting wages.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that. And then, obviously we live in a country that's part of a global economy.
Sure.
So there's always going to be, these headwinds or these winds that support us. And at the moment, there's headwinds that are happening globally, and they're affecting us. And, I have the privilege of traveling a lot for the sports work I do still. And, I can pick up a paper in Canada or Ireland or in Germany, and it's talking about exactly the same issues that we have here.
That's right.
But we're actually, I would say, arguably, that we're doing a better job than most places.
That's right. It almost feels for me, this is how old I am, deja vu to the 80s. Lots of things that are happening today felt like back in the early to mid 80s. And I saw it came with the 90s and the 2000s. Terrible.
Yeah.
It was terrible. So I'm hoping that we don't go down that same path.
Yeah. Yeah, like some of the responses from government in the early 90s, really hurt people.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that hurt back in the community.
Yeah, it's good. So the greater national type big issues beyond Rotorua. What's your opinion of some of those things that are happening? So road infrastructure.
Yeah. So one of the big things, I guess, nationally is cost of living. But we've chatted about that. Infrastructure is a big thing in New Zealand. Infrastructure costs a lot of money, and we have this infrastructure deficit. Like, we are a long way behind in our infrastructure. I would love to see more rail in New Zealand. I'd love to see our roads in better condition, but it actually takes time to get to that spot. There's no silver bullet. Like, you've just got to consistently invest in it over a long period of time. So I really hope that we're back in government and we can continue that work to invest in our infrastructure, and also the stuff that you can't see, like the pipes in the ground. And one of the big things is, like, we know that there's going to be climate events coming up. Like, that's what's happening in the near future. Like, we're not going to be having a calm period. Like, there's going to be more cyclones.
That's why if we're going to buy more roads, pay for more roads, and the storms are going to take away those roads, we're going to run out of money. The nature is going to win. So what we're doing currently, for me, feels like it's not going to work in the future. Yeah,
and there's this really big shift, in global corporations and even in government, and it's a change from like this mindset of being efficient, like getting everything done efficiently, to resilience. Like, how are you going to be more resilient? How are you going to make infrastructure more resilient? Like, what's coming, or you have a understanding of what's coming. So it's about doing that, because maybe the most efficient thing won't be the most resilient thing.
Sure. What policies on seniors? Senior, kaumatua, kuia. We love our old people. Yeah. Even though some of them don't like being called old. Sorry, auntie.
Sorry.
You're going to have to do a lot of apologies there.
But what are Labour's policies on our senior community?
So we want to keep the super age at 65. We think that's workable. There's other parties that want to raise that. So we'll keep that at 65. We want to carry on making payments into the New Zealand Superannuation Fund. We want to continue the winter energy payment, continue the free prescriptions, and also housing. Like, we still have this housing shortage, and especially when we're talking about social housing, we need to make sure that we're building enough social houses or units for older people as well, because
what about papakainga, or like in Holland with the Alzheimer's community? Do you think there might be in the future these big retirement homes? Some of those I think are for profit. That's just me. But others could be around community. What's your thoughts on that?
And so with the papakainga, there's been recent changes in the last few years to make that easier. Someone might want to correct me on this if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that a few years ago, like, it had to be on the marae or adjacent to the marae, but now they've changed the rule, so it doesn't actually have to be on the marae. It can be off-site. It can be somewhere else. So that's hopefully encouraging iwi to build more homes and build more for.
And tied in that, what are Labour's youth policies? Because we're young, hey brother, we're young. We're still young. I'm still young. Levi's young.
He's younger than me.
And Levi's got some young ones. I've got young ones. So youth policies.
So youth policies, yeah, a lot of stuff in education. You know, education's massive for youth. So making sure that, you know, we've got the first year's fees free. You know, the apprenticeship boost program. There's been a big push to, you know, make education more available. Like I went through university when the fees were starting to come in for they'd just been introduced sort of a few years before. Like my father went through university and it was free. Yeah. You know, so
and then you had to pay rip-off. No one gave you a warning, no heads up.
Yeah, and you know, so and that's a massive barrier for some families and some kids, and you know, it puts them off, you know, pursuing what they want to do. So, you know, making sure that, you know, you can actually pursue what you want to do and there's a chance for you to do that. So yeah, making sure those education pathways or those training pathways or apprenticeships are available. And you know, I think Labour's done a really good job on apprenticeships. I think there's 18,000 kids that have gone through apprenticeship programs in the last 6 years. So that's opening up doors, and we're seeing more people get into trades and training. But then there's also there's also the technology side of it, like, what are we doing in the tech sector, and making sure that if you can build those video games and be involved in the creative industries that
or run some podcasts.
The CGA. Quick question. Do you guys work with companies such as like the rocket company? You know how New Zealand has their own space company. Do you guys work with those kind of people as well to, like as you were saying, talking about tech, not only like the space company, but like the agriculture company with the tech sector and everything like that? Do you guys?
Yeah. So there's a fair bit of cooperation between government and different sectors, and there needs to be often. So just for example, here locally we have Scion, the Forestry Research Institute, and they're doing some pretty cutting edge stuff. It's a crown entity, it's at least partly funded by the government. But that's pretty cool for Rotorua to have some pretty amazing science on our doorstep. And they're doing some cool stuff.
They're kind of hidden too. I've been to the back, and I had a friend whose parents worked there, both parents, and I was like, is this some secret spy base or something? What's going on?
Speaking of, so we're going to just go to our comments.
Yep. So we got a couple of comments just saying hello. We've got Rose saying hello. We've got Atafai saying hello. Rose saying up the Wairiki, awesome.
Up
Ben.
the Wairiki.
Up the Wairiki. Up the Waz.
Up the Waz.
Oh, sure the Waz.
And then we've got
who's going to win the grand final?
I have no idea.
Oof.
Once the Waz were out, I lost it.
Yeah. Sorry. Are the Rabbitohs still in?
No, it's Penrith.
Penrith and the Broncos.
Oh, I reckon Broncos.
Strong
Broncos.
But I got final in both, so they already laughed at me, so I'm out.
And then we've got Lussa saying, great questions. And then also Andrew Sporman says, thanks for your support today, Ben, and love soup.
Love soup.
Did you bring
Andrew.
some soup?
Nah, I didn't get any soup, but I went along to so Love Soup does community work about delivering food and getting free food out into the community.
Oh, nice.
And food rescue and so on. And Miss Rotorua with their Mana Wahine program were along there.
Yep.
And so went along to have a chat with them and see how things were going, and have a talk to the new Miss Rotorua Parea.
Yep. Shout out to all the contestants as well, and the winners. You ladies are all winners.
Yeah, Pare, Tiana, well done. Carl, well done, brother. Me and Kazi.
Yeah, harder.
Hopefully we're going to have an interview with Miss Rotorua and Carl in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
So just lock in.
Can I ask you a question? What do you think about universal income as a...
Ooh, yeah.
Can we talk about a little bit universal income?
I think it's a really interesting concept, and I think it's something that we should continue to look at. I wouldn't stand here and say hand on heart that we should be bringing it in tomorrow. But I think looking at some of the research around it, it is really
it's a good idea,
interesting, and how can we make that work, and and also does that change people's behaviours as well?
I think it would.
Yeah, and that's some of the stuff around and you look into the future. There's some pretty amazing books on what's going to happen with AI How that's going to change work in the future, and even like concepts around what becomes human in the future, like if you can download your mind and stuff. And
so you guys actually think about that as well?
I don't know how much the government's thinking about that, but that's in some of the books. That's in some of the books that I've read.
Yeah,
wow, that's interesting. That's actually
totally where we're at. That's why we welcome you to the Alliance, Mikey.
yes. We do have a question from Marcus right here saying, what are your views about different ways of getting students back into education?
Yeah, that's a good question. I remember talking to some people in the community quite a while ago, and they were talking about the difficulty that kids were having, or families, when kids just changed school, like just from like primary school to intermediate to high school, and just that adjustment. And that kids were sort of falling through the gaps there. For me, it's more about encouragement. Like, you've got to create environments that kids want to be in. Like the providing healthy school lunches is one thing. That's an amazing policy and something that's working in the communities, because if you don't have enough at home, you can go to school, you don't feel like you're missing out because you're not bringing your lunch.
I've been there, so people used to come to us and like, what's your favorite thing about school? And someone, school lunch, and a bunch of us were like, lucky you. We didn't even have that.
That's really
hard times. And I feel like the hard times of the 80s, some of it never went away, but now it's come back tenfold. So there's heaps of kids out there in hard times. And as an adult now, looking back, I laugh about it, but it wasn't funny then. Well,
if you have one era of family that's struggling, they have kids, and in that, two kids are going to have struggle along with those parents, and then those two kids are going to have more kids, and they're going to struggle even more until someone does something about it.
Yeah, and it's that sort of domino effect, if you're growing up in a cold, damp home, you're more likely to develop a respiratory problem, which means that you're less likely to go to school, which means that your parent maybe has to stay home, so they can't work, so you can't make as much money, which means you go to school less, these things often just spiral.
And those are the main things for what you guys are trying to change in Labour as well, as with housing and climate change, because those are the both things, as you said, that give you the respiratory system failures and things.
Okay, these are quick fire. And this is the geeks.
Oh no,
these are our
this is going to be tough.
Are you ready? Okay, first one. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Cool, nice. Okay, who was the best Doctor Who?
Oh man, I haven't seen Doctor Who since the 80s, so I don't know. I don't even know who it was back then.
Doctor Who number 4, number 5, John Pertwee, and
I got to pass on that one.
Who's the one with the scarf? The white-haired dude with the scarf. I know he used to be a really good one. Yes.
Okay, sorry. Who? Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Nice. Who was the best Transformer?
Oh. Let's go Bumblebee.
Oh, yeah. Bumblebee, man. Everyone's favourite, Bumblebee's cool. Hot Wheels or Lego?
Lego,
nice. Barbie or Oppenheimer?
I haven't seen Barbie yet, but I have seen Oppenheimer, so we'll go Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones?
Oh, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yes.
Good one.
So I got an extra in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, because I got Lord of the Rings as well.
Tell. You got extra.
Yeah. So were you an extra?
No, I wasn't.
You went. Oh, so yeah, like when I was at university, like I was down in Wellington, and they needed extras. They only need thousands of us. So yeah, did a bunch of weeks.
Wait, were you an orc?
No, you were an elf. Were you an elf?
So I was an elf, a ranger, and a Gondorian soldier.
Oh, so if we pulled up pictures right now.
Yeah, there's like one frame in the second movie where you can see me in there, but
double famous, and you're from Vegas, so triple famous.
I was gonna say, if you were one of the orcs, were you the ones coming out of the tree being birthed?
Painful. Next question: which house would you be in at Hogwarts?
Oh, I gotta go with Gryffindor.
Oh, the main one.
The main one.
Who or what is the best animated New Zealand character?
Best animated New Zealand character. Wow.
I changed my one actually.
Okay, I'm gonna go old school. The dog in Foot Rock Flats.
The dog. Oh, lovely.
Oh, for real?
Dog. That's good.
Oh, I
'Cause you changed from Goodnight Kiwi, eh?
Yeah,
Oh,
changed
Goodnight
from,
Kiwi.
Changed from Goodnight
Ooh.
Kiwi to Brotown.
Oh, yeah.
Brotown, the father. The father's
Mine was Terry Teo, the first one, because it was live action and comic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. And this is a big one for us at the CGA. Do you believe in aliens?
Dum dum dum.
No.
Disappointed.
Yeah,
Disappointed.
here, folks. Okay,
That's a
wrap up
negative.
from us.
That's a negative.
Okay, I'll see myself out.
No, we personally, because we're geeks, we love and we love looking into that kind of stuff as well.
Yep.
We're like, aliens.
Aliens.
If we disappear,
Yeah, it's the aliens.
we don't say it's aliens, but it's aliens.
Okay.
And a couple
Okay.
from the 80s. Favorite cartoon?
Favorite cartoon? I'm trying to think, what did I watch like after school?
Were you around
Was it-
during the Fang Face era? Danger Mouse? Smurfs?
Smurfs was a little bit before me. Like I had some Smurf puzzles.
Okay.
I was quite into GI Joes when I was younger.
Joe.
Yeah.
Action figurines as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that?
Got to get the action figurines and yeah.
And just before the show, we were talking about your amazing voice and how you love karaoke.
Yes, yes.
What songs do you listen to? What's on Ben's playlist? What's
So on my
repeat?
playlist is terrible. Yeah, like I
Do you do
don't actually
instrument?
listen to it. Like I always really regret it. Like I like hanging out with people that listen to music, so I can listen to their music. And you know, when I've lived in a bunch of different places around the world, and like music to me is really like a location. Like I lived in LA for a while, and like I've never been a big listener of rap, but rap in LA just makes sense.
Yes.
Like it just makes sense.
The sun,
And so,
the
Or
tacos,
high-rise
the roads.
buildings.
yeah, so you know, listen to a lot of that.
But what about, so I've got that image of Cool Runnings,
Yeah,
and there's always the music that just before they go.
yeah.
Was there a music that
Yeah.
you played just before you launched at the Olympics?
Yeah, so yeah, like a lot of the competitors that I used to compete with would always have their headphones on. Like it wasn't something that really worked for me. Like I like to hear the environment and so on. But there was one song, because you know, like it's really tense. Like there's a huge amount of pressure,
Oh,
and
wow.
so you know, like you're fighting mind games against yourself, like just to be in the right space and the right zone. And you know, so one song, as you come up to the start line, you know, there's a couple of athletes before you, their coach has got the sled, so you're sort of standing there, you know, looking at them go, you know, the crowd's there, you know, everything's, you know, you have to get your moment right, like you've got to be as perfect
Does
as
time
possible.
slow down?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, and the world sort of compresses in on you, you know, like you've been waiting so long and this is the moment. And so one song that I used to sort of hum in my mind was Seven Nation Army by White Stripes. I just liked the tune. It was dun, 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 dun. And I could just sort of tune out with that tune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great song.
Should have that on the way down on your skeleton.
Is there a particular New Zealand poet, writer, or artist that you admire?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you know, like heaps. Who do I? There's, you know, at high school we had to, you know, learn James K. Baxter. You know, some of his lines still stick in my head. You know, I think what's happened in like the movie space and the music space in New Zealand has just been incredible. Like, actually, you know, like the Labour government back when Helen Clark was the Prime Minister, like they changed the rules around, like the radio stations had to play a higher percentage of New Zealand music, and then as a result of that, you had this sort of boom in New Zealand music. And you know, whether
Well done,
it's
Helen Clark. Well done.
yeah, you know, and like it's crazy. Like a simple thing like that can have such a profound effect. And you know, so
Who would you have a cup of tea with? So you've got two guests, alive or dead, New Zealand. Who would you love to?
wow, who would I? Yeah, I'll probably just. It probably wouldn't be anyone famous. You know, maybe just, you know, bring the grandparents back or something.
Oh,
You know, like
man.
do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we'd all love to do that. Just that one last cup of tea.
Yeah.
Oh, stop making
And a
me cry.
little bit of koha before
Yeah.
you go.
Cooked me that dessert I really liked.
yeah.
And so we've got two short weeks, is it? Just over 2
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah. So
What's on your schedule for the next 2 weeks?
yeah, so early voting starts on Monday. The voting station at the mall, I think, opens on Tuesday. And then, the election day will be on 14th, but you can, get in and vote early, get that, make it work for you when you've got some time, get in there and vote. So, our big thing, once voting starts, it's like getting people out to vote, like telling people to go vote, door knocking on people's houses to make sure they go and vote. Like we need people to, make sure that they exercise their, democratic rights and have a say.
And then once they do that, they can't say we had no right. We had no speech.
Because we've just got a question.
Well, we have a couple of questions actually. Okay. We'll fire some out to you. So we got one from Marcus saying, "What are your views?" Oh no, we've done that one. We got one from our very own Levi saying, "In 4 years, is 4 years long enough or too short to see true results of the policies implemented?"
Oh, so 3.
3, yeah. So like personally, I'd like to see it change to 4 years. But there's some good counter arguments against 4 years. So this is a geeky political sort of answer,
we're
but
geeks here. Fire away.
so like in New Zealand, Parliament is supreme. Like there's no check on Parliament. So like if you have the majority in Parliament, you can basically pass whatever laws. Like people might get angry with you and whatever, but there's you can't be overruled. Like we don't have a written constitution that the high the Supreme Court in New Zealand can overrule you, and we don't have an upper house of Parliament.
You're saying that the Rhubarb Party comes in majority. They say no left-handers, and next 6 months, and no one can stop them in a way.
Yeah, they've made the law. Like that's the law, and so like there's nothing there that says that they can't do that. But the check on power is that it changes regularly. Sure. So because they've got to be re-elected in 3 years, and so the regularity of our elections are what checks the power. Mm-hmm. Obviously, MMP changes this a little bit as well, but. Yeah, I think if we move to a 4-year term, there's another like a constitutional discussion we should have too about whether we do need more checks and balances. Like if do we have some sort of upper house? Like if we move to being a republic, for example, is there a do we have a parliament and then a president which has some sort of power to check that? So I think there's some really interesting discussions that we should have.
Nice. Yes, and there will be a lot of debate between those discussions as well, because people do have different minds. We do have another question as well. In your understanding, this is from Pounamu Paratene Kodi. In your understanding, do you believe that marae justice is the better way for Māori to deal with their own?
Yeah, I think it's definitely got a place. I think like from a Pākehā worldview, if actually taking that back, I'm a lawyer. That's my day job. That's what I've been doing that all day today. Like we see this in alternative dispute resolution all the time. Like if two parties have a dispute and they want to sign up for a particular way to solve that dispute, then they should be able to do that. And that to me is like marae justice, and that's where that fits in. If we have a something that's going on between us, and we think we can sort it out this way, like why not sort it out that way?
As long as it doesn't go overboard, that is.
I like that. That's a good answer.
And this one from Atawhai, this is a question for a friend. What would be your advice for someone for someone wanting to start a journey in becoming a candidate?
Good question. Very good question.
Get involved. Like all of us political parties all need volunteers. Like we need people to help. I have a really good team around me, and so get involved in an election. Like learn what it's about. Get involved in your community as well. Like understand what's happening in the community and like what you want to. I think it's important to stand for something, and like not just be there for the sake of being there. Join a political party that aligns with your values and what you see the need is.
So it's just get amongst it.
Get
find
amongst
out
it.
what
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, the next steps would be the papers and the signers and all that kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
for Marcus, do you think civics should be taught at
In schools,
school level?
to help
Yeah.
educate the public more about the government, and at what age should they be taught?
Ooh, I'd say it's sort of a progressive thing.
Yeah.
You know, like I think you can probably teach, you know, some basic concepts from a really young age, and sort of develop that as kids get older.
I just want input as well. In Asia, you've got like 3-year-olds cooking full-blown meals. I think us in New Zealand do have. I think us in New Zealand do have.
No, I got my kids cooking their own noodles at like 5, 6.
Oh,
I just
yum.
stand there,
Yes.
they're like,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But yeah, I really believe.
and 16-year-old voting. Do you think 16-year-olds should vote?
Yeah.
Why?
I think, you know, like we're often making decisions that, you know, have enormous impacts on, you know, what their lives are going to look like, not just currently, but in the future as well. You know, I think that 16-year-olds should be able to vote. And there's research that out there that says that, like, if you can get 16-year-olds to vote, they'll be more engaged in the process over their lifetime as well.
Nice.
And I think, you know, there's a lot of 16-year-olds out there with a huge amount of world experience. And, you know, there's some of the people, like, I've done, you know, this is the 3rd political campaign that I've run in. And probably some of the sharpest, most in-depth questions I've had are from 16, 17-year-olds. You know,
That's right.
you're
When it comes
putting
to-
a lot of, you know, a lot older people to shame. And
I would
and
say that too. I've met 16-year-olds who want to be involved, and I've met 60-year-olds who have never been involved,
Yeah.
never voted
Yeah.
in their life.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
Do you think? And like, do you think it's the reason why the 16-year-olds and up, or like the 16-year-olds to 20-year-olds don't find it easy to vote, or can't be bothered to vote, is because they see it as more of a political rather than a chance to change the country?
Yeah, I think there's often a like, oh, you know, my vote's just one vote, it won't count. You know, it is one vote, but your vote is important.
Yes.
And, you know, it's that one vote, which actually makes a difference. So, yeah, and, you know, getting involved in issues, like I think, you know, kids and teenagers have been incredible in, you know, standing up for, you know, climate issues in recent years. And that's, you know, that's changed the way people have thought about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Things.
at first they challenged,
Yeah,
and then the adults woke up and realised the kids are right.
yeah.
You can't blame the kids; these are our kids.
Yes.
They're right.
Yeah, and it was a pretty simple request, you know, look at the science.
Yeah.
You know, and it was because a lot of politicians and people just weren't looking at, or just, it was convenient to ignore the science.
Or just, would it be to do with ego as well, or like something like that? Just like there's someone who's younger than me telling me what to do.
Yeah, that is what that does it. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Whanau, we've been talking non-stop for an hour.
Oh, it's been an hour.
This has been
my
amazing.
goodness.
We've got the background music. It's been harmonising with our kōrero.
Yes.
So, just any final questions?
We don't have any final questions, but I do have a question on. Are you guys? What's your? Are you guys? Have you guys got like tackling homelessness in your agenda?
Yeah, like that's probably, I would say, one of the biggest issues here in Rotorua. Yeah, we've built 270 or delivered 270 new state houses, you know, in the last 6 years. We've got another 500 in the pipeline. You know, housing is how people put down their roots. It's how we make our communities safer, because, you know, people are invested in their communities, and so yeah, housing is massive in getting that done.
Do you think that's drawing, like, because in the last couple of years, I've been hearing, I had my ear to the ground on the streets, and I've been hearing more homeless people from outside of Rotorua coming in. Do you reckon that's because you guys are helping housing for those people, and these guys outside are saying, oh, we get free housing over here,
which also goes with Rotorua, is we're full of hospitality.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to say no.
Yeah, there was a pretty unique situation with COVID. So you had, you know, a housing crisis. You had, you know, a lot of homeless around the country, and then, you know, everyone had to be in their place.
Yes.
And so you suddenly had the situation where everyone had to be somewhere to, you know, to be able to get through COVID, and that sort of saw, like all the motels in Rotorua, but also, in other communities, in in Hamilton and Ulster Street, all the motels, there in Whakatane. It's just that Rotorua has more, motels.
Which kind of helped because our hotels went empty from COVID, and then they got filled up because of the people needed housing.
Yeah, and one of the ways the system, the housing register system works is that it you'll be on the list waiting for a space, and it just says, it doesn't say like in your area, it just says that there's a space available. And so like for years previous to this, Rotorua's been in a way sort of exporting homelessness, around the place, because if you're homeless, or if you're on the list and you're from Rotorua, like there might be a house that comes available in Tokoroa. So you've got to move yourself to Tokoroa, or you miss out on that house.
Yeah, we've got friends like that.
Yeah, and so that's been happening, and so it's partly that system. There's some other things in there that were not very well done and not very good, but the end result is that we have people in emergency housing around the country, and we need to build more houses here in Rotorua, but all the other places in New Zealand are also building more houses, so it's about getting more houses built so everyone can get back out of the motels and get into a place that they call home.
That's right.
Yeah, because that's a big thing for me too, and I've formulated a plan as well for homelessness as well. So if you want to talk,
Record on that photo.
But I think that we're going to be wrapping up as well. Did you have any last questions, or did you have any last questions for us?
Final comments.
No, so thanks so much for having me. This has been really cool. Like this is the best podcast around.
Yes.
Yeah,
you heard it first here.
And everyone out there, the election's coming up. I really want to be the MP for Rotorua. So please vote for me. I'll be a strong advocate for Rotorua and you in Parliament. And I think that's what we need. Like we need solutions, and we need to get stuff done. Like I love this place. And I just want to help. So please vote for me. Please vote for Labour.
Kia ora. And sorry, real quick question. So from each party, is there only one person running for Rotorua?
Not even that. So I couldn't even tell you how many political parties there are in New Zealand. So I think there's 6 of us running here in Rotorua.
From the same party or different
all different parties.
Okay, so you're the only one from Labour?
I'm the only one from Labour. People often get confused because there's the Rotorua seat, which is the general electorate seat, and then there's the Māori seat, which overlays Rotorua but takes in a much wider area. So Tony Boynton is our candidate for the Waiariki.
Yes, we're getting it.
Yeah. And so if you're on the Māori roll, you've got your list of candidates there. If you're on the general roll, that's where I am.
And I'll be voting for you.
Yes.
We got one vote here.
Yes.
You're on the Māori roll. You got one vote for Tony. Wait, can I vote for you and Tony, or just one?
Nah, so you can only. So the way it works is you do get 2 votes, but you get one for your candidate and then one for the party that you want. So like obviously I'm here to say 2 ticks Labour, tick for me and a tick for Labour, but you can some people are a bit strategic about that, so. If there's any National Party supporters out there, I'd say, Todd McClay, he's going to get into Parliament anyway. Why not double our voice in Parliament and, give me the candidate tick? But, obviously 2 ticks Labour through and through.
Are you on the list?
Yeah, I'm so far down the list that, there's no chance of me getting, I've got to beat Todd. I've got to win the seat here to get in, and that's fine with me.
No, we should. Well, personally, me, I'm in the general role, so I'll definitely be voting for you because I'm not voting for national not this time, and I'm not voting for freedom as well. So I'm sorry there, Brian. But any last any other events coming up, or that's just it?
No, if you want to have a chat to me, I'll be down at the Kūrau Park Market on Saturday morning. If you're in Te Puke, I'll be over in Te Puke. There's an event up on my Facebook page. But I'm around, and if anyone wants to have a korero, or give me a shout.
Yeah, awesome. So jump on Ben's Facebook page and keep in touch with Ben throughout the next 2 weeks. Show him your love and support. Whānau. Get in there.
Yes.
Te toko hard. And in a couple of weeks, hopefully we'll have.
So for us, we'll be having. So next week we're going to be having the Miss Rotorua Miss Manawa Wahine coming in, and then also we're going to be trying to get Carlin as well with her, and Jevy back in. And then for the next week after that, we do have Tony Boyton, as we've been talking about before, guys. We'll be talking about her Wairiki candidate as well, being a Wairiki candidate. And after that, we're going to be having the, I don't know if you guys know, the Sister Act. So Rotorua Musical Theatre is having a theatre show called the Sister Act, and it's November. Sorry, processing the information in my head. It's in November, but tickets are sold out. But we'll try to get a live. I'll try personally get a live in there.
Ticket, try and
Yep.
So we can do, see if we've got some hookups.
But we do have the committee board coming. One of the committee boards, and hopefully one of the performers coming in on the 4th week of the month.
So that's a busy week. So we've got our CGA talks,
Yep.
plus we're gaming.
Yep, we're gaming on Fridays, and then we do have our reacts as well.
We did some drunk gaming.
Oh, yeah.
Last Friday. Played some speed chess.
Yeah. Oh my.
Brutal.
These guys. This one used to play chess. This one, he's just smart straight up.
Fun.
And I was just, yeah.
So we've got games coming up, and also our
Mukbangs as well.
I'm hungry.
So we might even put on some weight in the next couple of months.
Need to, look.
Yeah. Starve ourselves for the first 3 weeks, and then
I can have 2 dinners.
Bulk
2
up
lunches.
for summer.
yeah,
Yes.
pretty much.
Ben has just volunteered to come join our mukbang.
Yes, as well.
We're
And
gonna
he's
eat our
officially
way-
in the Geeks Alliance.
Yes,
Oh,
we're going to
yes.
eat our way
Yes.
across
Yes.
Rotorua.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in tonight.
Thank
And we'll get the camera to you so you can wave goodbye, and we'll see you guys later. Have a good night, guys. Ciao, ciao.
See
Pō
ya.
Mārie.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.